Every day, hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage, their stories caught on tape. A kidnap victim with a gun to her head crashes at 80 miles an hour. A gunman opens fire at 800 rounds a minute. A massive riot that gets more dangerous by the second. This cop has just milliseconds to get out of the way. And this spit is one reason why this guy will get years in prison. It's time to get ready for disorderly conduct. Houston, Texas. The woman driving the white car has a shotgun to her head. She and her 4-year-old daughter were kidnapped by her boyfriend, who is heavily armed. A pickup truck accidentally blocks the car's path. The gunman fires 2 shots through the car's windshield. Luckily, no one is hit. He then pops out the rear window and fires at police from the back seat, with the 4-year-old girl buckled in a car seat right beside him. The woman opens the driver's side door as if preparing to jump. The car appears to slow down, then slams into the back of a truck. The impact hurls the woman onto the pavement, leaving the 4-year-old girl alone with the kidnapper in the smoking car. Police swarm the vehicle, and puffs of smoke can be seen as bullets fly. Officers are able to safely get the child out of the car in the midst of the gun battle. The kidnapper is shot during the exchange of gunfire and pulled from the vehicle. Officers can be seen here rushing the child to a waiting ambulance. The young girl was treated at a local hospital and released. Her mother, violently ejected from the car, also survived with relatively minor injuries. But neither will ever forget this day of terror. In Tavares, Florida, Deputy Lee Cheshire pursues a man who is believed to be suicidal and allegedly threatened to kill his own family. This chase is even more significant for the deputy because 5 years earlier, he had been involved in a shootout with the same suspect. The man is believed to be heavily armed. So Deputy Cheshire, as well as the other officers involved, understand they need to handle this pursuit with caution. But with the suspect hitting speeds of more than 80 miles per hour and weaving dangerously in and out of traffic, caution might not be the best option. At one point, the man cuts off a cruiser. Then he tears across the median and almost takes out more squad cars. With the pursuit getting out of control, officers discuss putting down stop sticks. He's able to avoid the first set of sticks, but not the second set. The truck keeps going, but Deputy Cheshire sees the damage. Suddenly, the suspect steers straight into a telephone pole. The brutal collision turns the truck into a twisted heap of metal. Because the man was heavily armed, police get out with guns drawn and circle the vehicle.
Like he's trapped inside the vehicle. He's not going anywhere. Signal 0.
Remarkably, the man survives despite puncturing a lung, his liver, and breaking a few ribs. But now he faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, as well as fleeing and eluding police. As for Deputy Cheshire, he's just grateful that things ended the way they did, and that no one else was injured. Near Kansas City, Missouri, police spot a truck speeding on the freeway and give chase. The suspect has no intention of pulling over. Instead, increasing his speed to over 100 miles an hour. The officers put out some spike strips, flattening 2 tires on the driver's side. Soon, it's no tires. But he keeps going on the rims, shooting sparks all over the highway. The suspect barely maintains control as a second squad car moves up for a look. But after hitting a second spike strip, he spins to a stop. It's already a dangerous situation, but it's about to become every cop's nightmare. Not only are the pursuing officers unaware that the suspect is armed, but he is heavily armed. That's an AR-15 automatic rifle in his hand. He fires at officers as he runs. Police respond with a barrage of bullets as the suspect runs into a nearby field. The officers take cover and stand by. And then, all hell breaks loose. From a position in the field, the suspect lets loose and takes a hail of bullets in return. Not a single officer is injured in this ferocious gun battle. But what might have been a speeding ticket for the suspect has far more serious consequences. He is fatally wounded and dies later at a local hospital on a night these officers won't forget for a very long time. Get ready, more disorderly conduct is coming your way. As Mardi Gras goes over the top and out of control in Seattle. And your worst rush hour nightmare, a suspect speeding the wrong way on the freeway. All that and much more headed straight at you on Disorderly Conduct. It's the sights and sounds of Mardi Gras in Seattle's Pioneer Square. As thousands of revelers take over for the night. But put enough alcohol into the mix, and the festivities turn really violent. Real fast. As violence breaks out all over the streets, Seattle cops are completely outmanned by the crowd. Elsewhere, women go at each other with fists flying. This man was shot in the arm. After nearly 2 hours of utter mayhem, the police move in with tear gas. The streets are under control once again, but at a steep cost. "42 people are treated for injuries at local hospitals, including several officers. 22 people are arrested for offenses ranging from assault to carrying concealed weapons. And store owners suffer the hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. All in all, a Mardi Gras that will be remembered for a long time, and one that a lot of people would like to forget." It's just before midnight in this convenience store in Dania Beach, Florida. That's a .22 caliber rifle carried by a 16-year-old. He points the gun at the manager, but then realizes something important. He forgot to load the rifle. He fumbles for ammunition in his pocket and discovers he brought .45 caliber shells for a .22 caliber rifle. Now one customer sees his chance. He tackles the gunman to the ground, knocking over displays. Other customers join in to kick the suspect. These tough customers make sure the guy's staying on the ground until police arrive. The suspect's charged with armed robbery and taken to a juvenile facility. Despite the beating he took from the customers, he is not seriously injured. What starts out as a simple traffic stop for a broken taillight soon turns into a high-speed chase across a large part of San Diego County. In his panic to get away, the driver ignores stop signs, street lights, and uses both sides of the road to avoid traffic. This spike strip narrowly misses the suspect's tires, so he races on, frantically trying to shake the cops. Both on the freeway and back on the streets. In the congested metropolis, the police are all over him, so he makes a desperate and gutsy move. The guy gets back on the freeway, driving over 100 miles an hour, going the wrong way. The pursuing officers decline to follow the suspect in his seemingly suicidal move. Instead, they parallel the driver from the right side of the freeway. While their eye in the sky rarely loses sight of him. Suddenly, traffic clears up and he accelerates down the empty interstate. But things are not all they appear to be, and this driver soon discovers why. Desperate to avoid a fatal collision, the police have shut down a section of the busy freeway to protect other motorists. As soon as he sees the traffic jam ahead, he turns around. The chase continues on and off the freeway until the driver decides to even the odds a little by jumping out of his car and forcing the cops to continue chasing him on foot. As he heads for the hills, police close in. He disappears into the brush, but his running is as erratic as his driving. A cruiser tries to clip the fleeing man, but he slips away and keeps on moving. Where are the officers? Even on foot, he's almost too quick for them. Without a thought for his safety, he sprints across the freeway. In the end, it takes an off-duty officer who just happens to be at the right place at the right time to bring an end to this wild chase. As for the suspect, he gets 4 years of rest behind bars. Up next on Disorderly Conduct, a routine stop becomes a direct hit. And a drunk driving suspect learns the meaning of pit. And lots more coming up next on Disorderly Conduct. Deputy Tom Pounier writes a speeding ticket in Wichita, Kansas. Suddenly, a car skids down the shoulder and slams into the back of the van, hurling the deputy into traffic lanes. It's a terrifying near-death experience. Although he's badly shaken, the officer gets to safety before he crouches in obvious pain. The passenger in the van suffers a minor head injury and climbs out. Although he's battered and bruised, Deputy Pounier checks on the car's driver as passers-by stop to help. The driver of the car is arrested for DUI. The van passenger is treated for his minor head injury, and Deputy Pounier is only slightly injured and quickly back on the job. Amazingly, this is not the first time Deputy Pounier has been the victim of a suspected drunk driver. He was rear-ended by another intoxicated suspect while investigating a traffic accident 6 years before this shocking incident.
How much you had to drink? So you're feeling the effects of the alcoholic beverage then, right? Well, you're not going nowhere.
Cops in Cottondale, Florida, have been on the lookout for this driver and SUV. A be on the lookout call is dubbed a bolo.
What's your driver's license? What are you getting pulled up for? Because you're in a vehicle that has a bolo out for it, okay? I've been looking for it.
The man's family called police reporting he'd been drinking heavily and was involved in a disturbance. But he has just one question for the officer. The suspect gets belligerent.
I'm just asking what part of bolo is, man.
I was exactly. Here, get on.
When the drunk man starts to walk back to his SUV, the officer pulls his gun.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Shoot.
Get on the ground.
Shoot.
Get on the ground.
I'm just asking what a bolo is.
Get on the ground.
Shoot, bitch.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
The officer takes action and pepper sprays him.
What the hell's a bolo? Damn.
The suspect tries to kick the officer.
Stay right there. Don't move.
What's a bolo? Bolo.
Do it again.
The suspect's maced. The suspect's cuffed. But he still wants to know one thing.
I'm just asking what a bolo is.
The man faces charges of felony driving with a suspended license, driving under the influence, and battery on a law enforcement officer. But he finally gets the answer to his big question.
Bolo means be on lookout.
The officer reports that the man also does $400 worth of damage to the police car, all because of too many beers and one unanswered question.
What's a bolo? I'm just asking what a bolo is. I'm just asking what a bolo is, man. What's a bolo? I'm just asking what a bolo is.
There's a 43-year-old man at the wheel of this truck. Police believe he's drunk. A Utah Highway Patrol officer pulls him over on the outskirts of Salt Lake City. Now the suspected drunk driver speeds away and heads toward town. He drives down the wrong side of the road very fast. This chase becomes more dangerous by the moment. He runs stop signs, speeds through intersections, and now there's cross traffic. The officer tries a pit maneuver, the precision immobilization technique. He tries again. It's a textbook example of a move these officers trained so hard to perfect. The truck spins, skids onto the grass and into a sign. The truck barely stops before officers are out of their vehicles with guns drawn. Now the driver's got a damaged truck and faces charges of driving under the influence and fleeing from officers. Rolling your way on disorderly conduct. A bad guy in a bad weather chase as a car becomes a snowball. And later, 15 years old and 100 miles an hour. Not good. Check your seatbelt. Disorderly conduct. We'll be right back. A man who seems suicidal is running through a Cocoa Beach, Florida neighborhood, and police desperately need help. Officers can't find the man in the dark, so they've requested a special eye in the sky that tracks objects through heat.
You guys have a direction of travel or anything from there or no?
The sheriff's department answers the call with their infrared camera, commonly called a FLIR. And tonight it will prove its worth in gold.
Hey, who's near the house right now?
Suddenly, the FLIR camera spots something.
There's a little bit of heat down there. Someone needs to come look at that. I can't tell what it is. It could be a drain leading out to the water, but someone needs to check it out.
Adjacent to the house where he's at or across?
The pilot directs ground officers right to the heat source.
Stop. Put your left arm out. Point. Right down there below your arm at your feet.
Took a piece in rescue. I got him.
Moments later, officers appear to have their man.
Hey, we got him. He's not going to go anywhere.
Good job, Dave. Good job. That's a good one.
I got it here in color, too.
But this is far from over.
Stall unit.
Oh, he's running. Fighting with him. Just fell in the water.
Suddenly, the man breaks loose from officers and jumps a canal.
I think you're probably going to need a boat at this time.
The man, who reportedly has a self-inflicted stab wound, could succeed in killing himself.
All right, lost him a second. You got him still?
He's underwater.
But the deputies with the FLIR aren't about to let that happen.
He's right off that first boat dock.
The man eludes capture for 5 long minutes, then heads toward shore.
Hey, you swimming to the other side. Just get units to the other side.
Just confirm you got someone going on the other side, guys.
Gary, I'm still on the east side. You got somebody on the west?
Someone get over the other side. He's swimming up on shore, looks like over there. Backyard of the second house, there's a sailboat. He's getting ready to go up on shore. I don't want to lose him.
23. Come on down here.
I'm back in FLIR. He's on that dock, it looks like, guys. Someone get over here quick. He's on the dock. He's walking on the dock towards the backyard there.
The man walks down a boat dock and picks up a piece of rope. Then, everyone's worst nightmare.
Other units, he's trying to strangle himself with a rope. Get a move on.
He's in the water. He just jumped back in the water.
The man ties a rope around his neck and jumps in the water. Within seconds, ground officers arrive and pull the man out.
Back to color mode.
Okay, we got him on the ground. Got a secure kid rescue over here.
The man survives and is taken to a mental health facility, thanks to the officers' quick work.
was wild.
But if it wasn't for the FLIR, they may never have had a chance to save his life in the first place.
Other units, he's trying to strangle himself with a rope. Get a move on.
And this story could have had a very different ending.
Just jump back in the water.
Oh, he's got a rope around his neck. That was wild.
This driver appears to be driving drunk on the streets of Orlando, Florida.
Hold on, I should hang up on me. I want country. We got 13 anytime.
Forces said,
Come here. Come here. Ain't no use running. I know who you are.
Catching the suspect turns out to be the easy part. Once they get him back to the station, he really starts making noise.
He's got my handcuffs too tight. Take me right now. He's got my handcuffs too tight. He's got my handcuffs. Stand back over there. Sir, you got it. Come on. Just stand right there. No. Okay. No. Stand right in my water right now. Just stand right there. I want to see my water right now. He's got the handcuffs to where I can. They're bleeding. My wrists are bleeding right now. So we can get your wrists.
To show there's no blood, the camera focuses on the wrists.
You don't beat me a little bit. Okay. Listen.
He refuses to listen to the DUI rules.
you are required by Florida statute to submit a true breath test to determine your blood alcohol content. Do you understand what I just read to you?
No, sir.
Okay, what else?
You're saying that I have to go there and can you do a breathalyzer test?
Absolutely. You are required by Florida.
No, I do not. Come on now, please.
What part of it don't you understand? No problem. We got all night.
Fine.
You are
do it all
required.
night long. We'll do it all night.
Sure, no problem.
But as the night goes on, he just gets more belligerent.
Please, would you please get off my shoulders? Kill me. You're my shoulder up, sir.
Okay, tell you what, just sit right here.
And finally, he turns to insults.
More education than all of you. Well, how do you like that?
It makes no difference to these officers. He's the one who has to learn that his actions have serious consequences.
Ain't no use running. I know who you are.
Officers pull over a suspected stolen car on a bad weather day in Willoughby, Ohio. But the suspect is going to take his chances running through the snow and rain. He speeds along the icy shoulder of the road, leaving little room for the officers following behind. He dodges a spike strip, nearly colliding with a police cruiser on the side of the road. The cops can't believe the audacity of this reckless fleeing suspect. A truck gets into the act, trying to slow the suspect down, but it's no dice. And it's onto the shoulder again, doing anything he can to shake the pursuit. Officers down the road are waiting once again with stop sticks. The suspect tries to swerve around them once again, but not this time. The car shoots out of control and onto the center median and rolls several times. Officers approach with guns drawn, but the two occupants are in no shape to resist. The driver was seriously injured in the crash and charged with larceny, DUI, and fleeing arrest. His passenger was also treated for injuries, but it was still their lucky day after living through this. Still more to come on disorderly conduct. A troubled teen spins out of control and takes a leap of faith. Then, a desperate man fires more than one weapon at the police. Don't go away. Disorderly conduct will be right back. California's busy 10 freeway, and a helicopter captures a stolen car as it swerves through traffic. There's a 15-year-old kid behind the wheel of this sedan driving at more than 100 miles an hour in the city of El Monte. Cops on the ground are hoping the driver will slow down if they back off, but the kid keeps the pedal to the metal. Suddenly, high speed and inexperience catch up with the young driver. The car does 2 complete spins at extremely high speeds. With smoke pouring from his tires, the driver clips a concrete wall and rolls to a stop. He wants to jump from the freeway, but has to run down to a lower elevation. Now he climbs a fence into a car lot. The chopper pilot alerts officers on the ground. Cops quickly catch the juvenile who's charged with felony evading, grand theft auto, and driving without a license. This young man's just lucky he didn't kill himself or an innocent motorist. A simple transaction in Warwick, Rhode Island turns ugly. An angry robber swings at the clerk with a crowbar, but the clerk reaches under the counter and beats him back with a baseball bat. That blow breaks the robber's arm, but he still doesn't give up. He tries to grab something from the counter, and that earns him a hard hit on the head. The robber flees with his arm broken, and the cashier chases after him. Moments after this vicious attack, the robber crashes his car into a wall. Cops arrest the man and charge him with 2 counts of felony assault. All thanks to a cashier who refuses to be a victim. It's a police pursuit in Palm Bay, Florida. The driver of that black pickup is a carjack suspect, and he's showing no signs of stopping. And when he gets toward the outskirts of town, he nearly takes out a traffic sign. This pursuit is about to take some dramatic twists and turns. The driver suddenly cuts into an area filled with trees and brush. Deputies jump out thinking it's now a foot pursuit, but then he comes driving back out. The chase continues throughout Florida's Brevard County. Suddenly, the driver pulls off the road again. He appears trapped, but this guy just won't quit. Out of camera range, the man takes aim at a motorcycle officer. You can hear the officer shooting in self-defense. The bullets miss the suspect, and he takes off yet again. But now it seems every deputy in the county is in the pursuit. The call goes out for spike strips, but they won't be needed. Soon after he turns down a side street, the man crashes the truck. And moments later, he takes off running. It's now a track meet through this normally peaceful neighborhood. With the help of a squad car, the man is cut off and thrown to the ground. It's time for the taser. Jolts from the taser gun only temporarily slow the guy down. As officers prepare to take him away, he leaves them with some parting shots. First with words, then with something even more vulgar. The suspect spits at the officer, so they have to tase him yet again. The man is initially booked for aggravated battery on a police officer, as police look into the possible carjacking. It turns out he was recently released from prison and has drug charges pending. In the end, no one is injured from either bullets or any other flying projectiles. Next, on disorderly conduct. A high-speed pursuit turns into a house arrest, and a suspected thief risks the ultimate price at the pump. All that and more when disorderly conduct returns. This 53-foot big rig's stolen and loaded with melons. Now it runs on rims after a 4-hour chase. A 50-year-old man and his 39-year-old girlfriend are in the truck. It's a slow-speed pursuit on Interstate 15 in California's Riverside County. It's the driver's last day on the job, but instead of returning his refrigerated big rig to the depot, he takes off leading police on a 4-hour chase. Finally, the truck stops on the freeway.
Open the door slowly and get out.
The police are obviously concerned that this situation could turn dangerous. The woman passenger finally gives up, and her boyfriend's right behind her. The man shows he's unarmed, and both are arrested. The driver is in violation of his parole. Now he and his girlfriend face felony evading and grand theft charges. Sergeant Randy Shepard's in hot pursuit of a reportedly stolen Lexus. 5 suspects flee in this luxury sedan with a 17-year-old behind the wheel. They hit more than 100 miles an hour in Greensboro, North Carolina. Now they're in a construction zone, and Sergeant Shepard's forced onto the wrong side of the road. The driver has a hard time maintaining control of the sedan as he dangerously passes cars. That's a busy intersection ahead. He misses other vehicles by inches. Now he recklessly passes on the wrong side of the road on a curve. The teen's next decision brings this chase to a violent end. The car just can't make the left turn at top speed. It pulls wide and smashes right into someone's house. The suspects climb out of the wreckage as Sergeant Shepard scrambles over his hood and leaps on one of them. The homeowner comes out to check the damage to his house. The impact tears out his porch. Sergeant Shepard manages to hang on and handcuff one suspect. Other officers arrest 3 more, and a 5th is caught at his home nearby. The youths range from 15 to 18 and face charges including car theft, evading, and breaking and entering motor vehicles. A gas station security camera in San Joaquin, California, catches a thief trying to snap the lock off a gas tank with a pair of bolt cutters. But when sheer physical force won't cut it, He tries Plan B. That's right, he's using a blowtorch on a gasoline pump. An explosive combination that could destroy everything in seconds. The suspect takes off his shirt, using it to protect his hands from the heat as he tries to pry the lock open. Carelessly, the thief drops his shirt at his feet and starts to torch the gas pump. Within moments, the shirt catches fire. Burning until he finally notices and stamps it out. Without hesitation, the thief uses the smoldering shirt on the lock. The suspect has finally freed the gas pump. The hard work seems to have paid off. He fills his tank, and the suspect heads home satisfied. That is, until police confront him with this tape and he's arrested. Still a very lucky man. He could have paid the ultimate price at the gas pump with his life. Sunday.
Get ready for the new Slammin' Saturday night. It's locked, loaded, and aimed straight at your bloodshot eyes. Get the away from me. With 5 hours of destruction, pain, mayhem, and action.
I'm gonna smash your little head.
Guaranteed to rock and shock you back to life. I can't even describe what I've seen. The new, ever more painful Slammin' Saturday night. The Hurt hits home Saturdays starting at 7.
Coming at you!
Wear a cup, only on Spike.